Anyone who knew Mary Kay Bissell knew of her passion for teaching. Students, near and far, continued to keep in touch long after they had graduated high school. In retirement, she became a volunteer for St. Joseph's Hospital's hospice program and quickly became an advocate for the medical services, emotional support, and spiritual resources hospice can provide. When her husband was diagnosed with cancer, they chose home hospice care, and she did the same when it came time to make the decision for herself after her own cancer diagnosis. In her last month of life, she was committed to teaching her final lesson, to share with others what she had experienced firsthand. In her words, to focus on living and to give with warm hands.
Over the years, I've been concerned that in America, we don't die right, that we try to stay alive by all means as long as possible. Let us sit down with you. Here's a person who's dying, actually dying, who made this video because she's that committed to the goodness of this program. And if you just look at it, maybe it'll calm some of your fears and sit with them so if they have questions, you can stop it and answer the questions right away. One of the reasons I agreed to do this is that I hear so often after someone has been told that their illness is terminal, there's nothing more medically that can be done. I hear people say, yeah, but I'm not going to do hospice because hospice is a death sentence. In other words, they look at it very negatively and they say, and she's not really dying yet. She's not going to be dying maybe for like, say, 3 to 5 months. So we'll think about this and then we'll get back to you. And that's such a shame because the hospice services actually work best if the people who serve you on hospice can get to know you, get to know how you tolerate pain, get to know how you tolerate various kinds of meds, get to know how your house works, where things are located. Their service is better too. Maybe that's the best part, is that hospice takes away some of the real nasty stressors, like what medicine do I get at 3 o'clock this afternoon, and am I going to take too much of it? And did I remember to take the medicine at 2? And if I'm feeling this way, should I take this medicine at 4? They kind of lay it all out and say, this, you do this at this time, you do this at this time, you do this at this time. They give you the support you need to get you started without being scared. Because I think a lot of people, regular people, are scared of medical things. And hospice provides that medical care, that underpinning to say, yes, you can do this and we will help you do this at first and it will become normal for you. And then you can do it by yourself. It always made me sad that I would come into a home, I would visit twice to help people out, and then the patient died. And I always felt that they never ever figured out what hospice was and never really got to use all the services that hospice provided. So one of the reasons I wanted to do this is to say to people, if you know you're terminally ill, and the doctor has said there is nothing more really medically we can do for you, you probably at that point should sit down with your family and make that consideration so that you don't come into hospice when it's chaos and you're really, really sick. Well, I like being in my house, and I like sleeping in my bed, and I like going to the bathroom in my own bathroom and taking a shower in my own shower. And what hospice does is it brings in all the help I need to be able to do that, and brings in lovely people who are kind to me, wait on me, do all the things I need to have done for me.
Part of it is just knowing that Mary Kay is more comfortable being in her own home, and I know that that's really important for most people, so it makes me feel good to know that I'm a part of keeping her in her own home, at least as long as possible.
So Days come and days go, and they're never the same. And what hospice teaches you is you take charge of those days. If you don't want to have visitors, you just have to say, no visitors. In fact, if you came in my door, there's a sign on my door. Barb is the gatekeeper. She's not only my caretaker, but she's the gatekeeper. And I tell her no visitors today, and then we have no visitors today.
And, that's really been helpful to me, because if she were unable to communicate what she wanted or what she needed, to me that would be tougher than being told.
Give yourself some time to reflect on your life. Give yourself some time to maybe mend some fences. Give yourself some time to have a talk with your children, grandchildren, siblings. My siblings and I have had some of the best conversations talking about growing up on the farm in Minnesota, laughing. I'm so glad I didn't wait till I was so sick that I couldn't join in that conversation. I thought it would be probably impossible for me to find one care provider. So I called my siblings together, and to the surprise, I think, of all of us, my sister-in-law, who lives in Red Wing, said, I think I could do that, Mary Kay. Knocked my socks off. Said, are you sure you want to do this? This is a lot of work. Are you sure you want to do this? And she said, yes, I think I'd like to do this for you.
When Mary Kay mentioned that she was looking for somebody to help her be on hospice, I thought of all the things that she's done for our family and our kids. And I just thought that she had given so much to us that this would be a way that I could give back to Mary Kay.
If you get a choice, if you could have this sister or that sister or this sister or that brother, pick the one who has the best organizational skills, especially keeping track of finances, because the bills keep coming in. And somebody has to pay them, or else they shut your cable off or your electricity off.
The most difficult part of being a caregiver for a hospice patient would probably be different for each caregiver. For me, one of the main things is that I live an hour and a half from here. And so I'm living in somebody else's house. I'm not at home with my husband, with our cat. I can't see my friends on a regular basis. They're all at least an hour and a half away from me. And so it's just, for me, that's a difficult part. Other than that, I guess sometimes I do get tired, and caregiving can be pretty demanding. And as things progress, there may be even more demands on my time.
If I had written an autobiography, it would be entitled The Girl Who Collected at Least One of Everything. And I have a lot of stuff because I've traveled the world. And I've been able to give it with a warm hand. And I think that is so important, rather than have my brother and my sisters try to figure out who would want what. So isn't that a joy to be able to do that? To be able to give people what they love, and rather than something you picked out for them. Well, hospice enables you to do that kind of thing, and to actually put your hand in theirs and give it to them and let the tears come to their eyes. Their goal is to make the patient as comfortable as possible in his or her own home. And there's not a much better way to die than that, I guess.
The help is there when we need it. I feel if I call, I'm always going to get an answer. Somebody's going to respond to me. And so, again, I feel that it's just a whole teamwork kind of thing, and that we're all in this together. And I'm not out here by myself with somebody checking every once in a while. I just kind of feel like there's always somebody there, even if there isn't somebody right here in the home with me.
My parents gave me all the education they could afford to give me, and it was good education. And I love teaching. I should say, one piece of unfinished business. No matter how you think you've got your life put together, you never, ever get it all done. We should focus on living as well as you can in the time that is allotted. But I often think of, what about a man like my father, a farmer with an 8th grade education, and he's on hospice, and he wants to say something, and the tears come rolling down his eyes. He's going to think something is seriously wrong with him. So I think one of the things that hospice really needs to do is to talk about some of those things that happen, like you will cry more than you ever thought you would cry, and that's perfectly okay. It's okay to cry. Let the tears roll. You're okay. We know you're okay, and if that makes you feel better, go ahead and cry. I think what hospice can provide is somebody to kind of walk you down that road a little piece and just ask you some questions. How are you feeling about dying? What do you think it's going to be like to die with dignity and grace? And so far I've been lucky enough to do that. Every day when I get tucked into my bed at night and get my CD playing, I always say to the person, it's been another very good day, a blessed day. And if I can go out saying that at the end, I mean, what better thing could there be?